Oh, related to it. Yep. Hi. Oh, nice. Okay. Good.
Got it working? Because I kept on struggling.
Yeah, struggling time.
I finally got it to work, and I just let it stay recording, and then I just edited it.
Cut out the beginning.
Yeah, cut out the beginning. Whatnot.
Apparently streaming.
Streaming?
Hello? Hello? Test, test.
Hi.
Not getting any sound. Microphone is in the camera, right?
and each department will have a volunteer, each one committed to a volunteer for each section.
Good.
And they're super excited.
Good.
They're just like, we can't wait. And I said, we will bring as many as we can, and plan on a crowd of people at 12. We'll just be there. So
that'll be fun.
They were really excited. They can't believe that we would do something like that for Christmas. And what was cool, as I said, we're presenting it to our board, and we like some of our board members, all of our board members, to attend. And she looked and she said, you know what, this is going to be bigger because each person gets to feel what we do, and we'll get more participation.
Yep.
And she said, we'll even have a little section of the tour where the people, each group can just go around and see what we do, you know, with the children, the babies that die, or the homeless and all that stuff. So they're going to
prepare a little tour for them.
Yeah. And the board will come. She said, let us know who they are, and we'll do a tour, letting them know, how we participate in the town. So
good.
They were super excited.
So you'll get an email.
Yep, I'll prepare
together
one
for
for
me
you.
and
Yeah, we'll do one and get that out.
Either one should work. There you go.
We're live.
Nice.
Let me get everybody. If you're ready, there's some people that want to
We got some time. We got some time. Yes. Good smelling, tasty brown bag.
Yes, I had an actual brown bag this time. In the past, I've just had a white bag Subway sandwich. Today, I actually have a brown bag. Why I love running.
Shows up pretty quick.
So, can you see me here, or do I need to stand like directly in front?
A little crooked, but
You should be good anywhere. We've got like 6 inches to a foot to the right side of the screen, and probably 2 feet to the left side.
here, don't
There's
go.
more room on the other side.
Let me show you.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's just the way it's set up.
Cool.
Here,
So
let me
anywhere you
know.
are in
Yeah,
there,
they were really excited.
Oh,
you'll be good.
Yeah.
Giants,
Okay.
the ones that are on their mission.
That works.
Picking up
In
on it
fact, they
pretty
gave
well.
me some coloring, so I'm going to pass out some binders to color, just for between now and there, too. So I'm putting that together as well. And your team would like to be in here, but they have to stay for their lunch. So I said, that's okay, he'll look good on the videos. So just so you know.
Come to come.
People
None of them will come?
They just can't. They
What
said,
a
because
bunch
Brandon,
of...
you tell me. They said they have to have something done. Oh, someone's taking me. Don't take me.
I'm done.
So are you able to do that on your phone? Are you setting it up on your phone?
That was
Streaming it from
Oh, you were
YouTube.
streaming
That's
it.
live on
Oh,
YouTube.
Cool.
I don't know where my bag went.
So whatever you do, be careful what you say, because it's live now.
So, are we so we're going for Christmas. We're going to do the humanitarian center. We're going to do this stuff. So I'm going to need some help setting up each groups and stuff. Would you be willing to help out?
Oh, absolutely.
And then when I went over there now, they gave me some folders that we can start coloring. Just cute little color Christmas stuff. If you have colored pencils, I'm just going to give it to select people that would just color between now and December 9th.
You don't give it to me because I don't color in the lines.
You have to color in the lines. So they just kind of give you the instructions. I said, I'll just select 10 people that would be willing to color between now and December 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love to color, so at night just color.
That
There's
works.
5 pages, and then we color, and they're cute little stuff. What's cool about the coloring is once we color and we bring them back, then they laminate, and then they ask for specific people that are willing to cut around the lines. They don't let teenagers do that. And I said, well, we have adults that know how to cut around the lines. Dan's one of them. He may not be able to color. And then they laminate them all, and then they cut them, and then they match the face. So the kids say, this Santa looks like this Santa, therefore.
Oh, that's cute.
So they'll tell you what to color.
Welcome,
Anyway,
Carl.
it's really
Do
cute.
you love
so
hate running?
if you can help me with that too.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Do you
That'd
love
be
hate
cool.
running?
That'd be super fun.
I used to like
Yeah,
that.
just different groups. I just was thinking, okay,
You can.
this,
I think that
you'll just be in charge of
ties
making
water,
sure
and
that
you can be
whatever
running
they're
the
asking us to
computer.
do, that you're taking the lead on the coloring, for example, and I'll do the paint, and Dan will do the sewing. You know?
Glad I'm not on that one.
Chris's wife will be there, and she does the quilting already.
I do
So she just has to visually see how everybody gets
more frustrating
be in
now.
charge. And then we're going to cater food in. So I'll send a note out. It's December 9th.
Okay.
On an afternoon. It's a Saturday.
You know how you used to be good at
Five.
running? I think with daughter it's easy.
Okay. Then
So I'll
yeah.
take no.
Perfect.
No,
I'll give
it's
you a
not
phone.
easy.
I think they're coming, but let's
And
get
it's
started.
frustrating.
Oh, we got one
That's
more minute.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we got one.
We got Carl in here.
And me.
It's in my job.
And
Okay,
Amy.
fantastic. You got more than we did.
And Brad.
It's Dan's birthday.
Yes.
Tomorrow's my daughter's birthday too.
Really?
Today is my
She has a
son's.
good birthday.
Oh, really?
It's
Today is
so
my
close.
niece's birthday.
Today is Marcy's birthday.
Today's March.
Today's Marcy's
It's her
birthday.
50th birthday.
So did you find out what your baby is?
No, my wife decided she doesn't want to find out.
And so you couldn't?
So
I'll find out.
Did you kind of look and say,
we're
"Baby?"
disagreeing about it, but it's like, well, if you don't, we decided if one of us decided we didn't, then
They
neither of us
both
would.
come in. Oh.
So
Were you like looking
She-
going, oh, that looks like a...
she's like, she's like, oh, I want to wait, and so she wants to do a gender reveal party or something. I don't know.
If you have pictures,
So,
my wife can just
you're
look
doing
at
all
those and
that,
send it
but
to you.
it didn't stop me from looking the whole time.
Does that look like
We
a-
did
does
that on
look
our
like
last
a-
one.
Of course,
We
it's
decided
all
we-
so blurry
I know,
anyway.
I
So I
know.
mean, they're like measuring the brain and the heart,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. I'm like,
Go to the crotch, go to the crotch.
was that what I think? Oh,
We did that on our last one. We decided we didn't want to know.
Oh, really?
And we did the ultrasound, and it was very evident that we were having a boy.
So
so,
that's what
surprise!
so we knew.
Yeah.
Baby's measuring good. And
Good.
everything looks great.
Yeah,
So
fantastic. That's good news.
yeah. So
Where's your brown bag?
now I just have to
fridge.
Okay.
convince her
Right,
that
so
she
encouraged.
doesn't want to wait.
Yeah.
But a
That's
gender
good.
reveal party would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
So
Okay.
Those meatballs wrapped in bacon.
Yes, it's stuffed with cheese.
all right.
Very nice.
Let's see. You ready?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Well, welcome everybody. I guess this is our 4th brown bag that we've done, and Franny asked me to speak and kind of talk about running and some of the races and things that I've done in doing that. And so this isn't really going to be about tips about how to run or what to do, but just kind of why I enjoyed running and how it's motivated me to get active or be fit and to do those kinds of things. So thought I'd talk about why I hate/love running. And it is a hate-love relationship. Hate generally goes first in doing that, but running really is a fun thing, especially when it's done and over with. But I really do love running, honestly. It's a lot of fun in doing that, doing it, and then it just, running sucks. In doing that, all right, one more kind of funny one that talks about running. I went for a run but came back after 2 minutes because I forgot something. I forgot I'm out of shape and can't run more than 2 minutes. So with running, really what started me into this, I never thought of myself as a runner or that I'd ever become a runner. I always thought people who ran were crazy. And when you see people out jogging on the side of the road, you never see them smiling as they're jogging. It's just not a fun thing. To me, it was always a punishment when you messed up. Coach made you run laps or do sprints or do whatever. Why would anybody run for fun? And people who do track are a whole nother level of crazy and insane. Yeah, I know there's a couple in this room in doing that. And so, but really what started me and inspired me to start running is my sister-in-law, Susan. So, it's my wife's sister, Susan. She's just older than her. And she started running, I think 4 or 5 years ago. She's not what a lot of people would think of as a typical runner. That's a little skinny green bean person and doing that. But she really decided she wanted to make a change in her life and get active and be out more. And so she started running and doing that. And so she really kind of showed me that anybody can be a runner. It doesn't have to be what a lot of people conceive as a really skinny, fit person. That anybody can do it. Anybody can run a marathon or race and do those things. And she really taught me that anybody can change who they are and what they do and kind of go through that journey. And the biggest thing that she taught me is that no matter how slow you go, and I am slow, I probably more accurately called a walker than a runner, is that you're still lapping everybody on the couch. And I had sat on the couch for a lot of years, pretty much my whole life. You know, I'd play and do things, but I was never a super active person in doing that. And so that's what kind of really inspired me to, hey, you need to start moving, you start doing, especially as your kids get older. You can keep up with them when they want to run and play and do all those kinds of things. So I want to share some myths that I've discovered as I started running and doing that. And a lot of it is kind of like I alluded to with my sister-in-law is, you know, I kind of had a vision of this is what a runner looks like. This is who they are. These are the people that run a marathon or a half marathon or even a 5K. That you have to have a certain body type. You have to be able to do it in a certain amount of time. Or that you even have to race, because a lot of people, you know, they'll run and they do that and they do it all the time. I personally really enjoy the racing because it helps keep me motivated. In the past, when I've just tried to run on the treadmill or around the neighborhood, you know, after about a month I fizzle out, versus when I had a race to prepare for, it kept me motivated to keep going on that run every other day or pushing myself so that I would be prepared for that race to survive. And so, you know, I really had thought of a runner as, and I think my thing just, there we go, as people who look like that, you know, very skinny, very fit, and that's what it takes to be somebody who would run a half marathon. But in reality, runners really do look more like this. They're all shapes and sizes. People with, you know, the beer bellies and doing that and all kinds of different things, all different ages. When I ran the half marathon, there was somebody there in their 80s that was running, and there was also an 11-year-old running. So big gaps, all different sizes, all kinds of different things. But, you know, you really can look like anything and still run a half marathon and do that. And so that was kind of one of the myths for me, is that, you know, you had to look super fit. So even if you look like this, you can still be somebody who can run a marathon in doing that, and that anybody can really do it. The real key is to get started. And so for me, my journey to running a half marathon really started with my wife getting close to the big 30. And she was handling it about as well as Joey from Friends in doing that, and really not looking forward to the big 3-0 and getting old, which of course everybody older than that is laughing about 30. But it's a big deal. I mean, I turned 30 the year before, and I remember that, and so she was just really like, I'm turning 30, I'm getting old. And then she really decided, you know, she was going to challenge herself and try to do something different and kind of make it that turning point in her life. And so we really started getting more active this year, started eating healthier as a family and doing a lot of different things. And that really started in March of this year, and we started doing different things. And then she really decided, as we were getting closer, that the challenge she wanted to take on would be to run the Idaho Falls Half Marathon, which happened to be the day before her birthday. So her birthday was July 30th. July 29th is when we ran the marathon, so she spent her last day as a 29-year-old running a half marathon. Awesome. And then later she found out she was also happened to be pregnant when she ran the half marathon. So she likes to rub that in my face too in doing that. And so that's what really helped me stay motivated, because I was already starting to get to that point of, well, I don't know, I'm kind of tired of running on the treadmill, waking up at 5 to do this because we're busy with kids and life, and it doesn't happen unless I wake up early in doing that. But then once we kind of decided, yep, we're going to do this, and we booked it and paid for it, and then it was, this is real, this is happening, I got to get ready. And so that helped keep the motivation to continue to wake up every other day to run and to do those kinds of things. So, of course, half marathon, 13.1 miles. Started on Sunnyside, pretty close to where the landfill is up there. ran down Sunnyside, cut across behind the movie theater, and then ran down 25th and ended up at Snake River Landing. So, clear across town, a lot of fun, a lot of work.
At least it was downhill.
Yes, it was downhill to begin with. That was one of the reasons we picked that. Like, well, the first half's downhill, so really we won't have to start working until mile 6. Of course, it doesn't really work that way, but that's what we told ourselves when we scheduled it in doing that. And so we woke up early. They actually have start at the finish line. You can see we actually have our medals at this point. So this is the end of the race. But we're going to pretend like it was the start of the race. So we woke up bright and early, July 29th. Oh, my email just opened. That's helpful. To run the race. And so this is us in the morning getting ready to go. But because it was her birthday and she wanted it as a birthday present, we got others to join us. So my 2 sisters ran with us, as well as Holly's sister, and the 5 of us ran. That was also extremely helpful because there were lots of us pushing and motivating each other. We would do challenges with Fitbit or other things, preparing, seeing how many steps people were getting through the week. We would track our exercises and see, how fast people were going, how many miles, all that kind of fun stuff, building up to and doing that. And everybody did it, at a different pace and doing that too. My little sister, Chrissy, she had had a baby 4 months prior to running the race, and so she walked because she wasn't able to prepare and do as much. So she really walked the whole half marathon in doing that, where the rest of us jogged, walked, ran-ish in doing that and going through in doing that. And so, we started, like I said, up at the top of the hill, started running down. The thing I loved about racing too is you really do meet people of all kind of different walks of life. I don't know this lady's name. We just called her Mama through the whole thing. She was running. She told me she weighs 340 pounds, so not somebody you would normally think of as somebody who's going to run a half marathon. As we talked to her, she found out, or she was pre-diabetic, and they pretty much said unless you make changes, you're probably going to have diabetes and all these kinds of different things. So her and her family got together, and what are we going to do? And they're like, we're running a half marathon, Mom. And so they did that. And so you'll see her 2 daughters in another picture here in a little bit. But they all ran together, and her daughters were there to support her, and they would run ahead and then turn around and run back, which we hated because we're just dying, and they're running back and forth like crazy to help their mom out and do that. And so that's what really made it fun. So there's Mama again, and then her 2 daughters, and her daughter was joking and playing around and doing that most of the race. But it's meeting people like that and kind of hearing their story and what brought them to, run a half marathon and their journey. It makes it a lot of fun and exciting too. And every race you end up kind of meeting somebody that kind of helps motivate you and keep that going, which is a lot of fun. But the race goes good. I was ahead of my wife and my sisters, feeling really good about myself. And then as the race goes on, eventually they get further and further ahead of me, and doing that until the point where my sister's right there and my wife is long gone and I can't see her. But eventually I kind of caught up to them, and then they left me in their dust again. But we all finished, which is the important thing with the races and doing that, is just really the finish and the challenge against yourself. And you're really not racing everybody else. You're there and you all work with each other and help each other and do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you take your shoes off after you get going in doing all of that. But it's just, finishing and challenging yourself. Can I do this? In elementary school, when they make you run the mile, I ran the mile in 14 minutes and fell over puking at the end, which 14 minutes is a very, very slow mile. In doing that, and that's just the shape I was in even from the time I was just a little kid. In doing that, to preparing for this, to then being able to run a 12-minute mile, to be able to run 3 12-minute miles back to back in a row, and to be able to run, for 30 minutes straight, and doing that kind of stuff. It's that challenge with yourself that you push yourself, and okay, yesterday I was able to run for 10 minutes. Today, can I run for 11 minutes? Or can I run for 12 minutes? Or, well, I'm not feeling that today, but maybe I can make it a little further and I won't run. I'll walk a little bit more. And and do some of those different things. And then you pay attention to, the things I eat affect the way I run. If I ate junk the night before, when I wake up to run, when I have my brown bag from Jack in the Box, when I wake up to run the next day, I feel it, and those kinds of things. And so it really kind of helps the whole transformation, but really it's all about finishing. My kids came and met and ran the last quarter mile with us and doing that. Julia, my middle child, she's our really fit one. She pulled my wife across the finish line. And it's like, Mom, you're running too slow in doing that. So, but, we all finished. And so, the slow runners make the fast runners look good. Somebody's got to come in last so somebody can do first. And so I was able to finish the half marathon. 214th of 229. One male was slower than me, and one person in my age group was slower than me in doing that. So for the 213 people who finished before me, you're welcome in doing that and helping them feel good. But really, what the race about for me was challenging yourself, having that competition with yourself, and really something to help motivate. And of course, we're all doing the Fitbit challenge together and the different things. I don't know, like when we did the Jackson, if that helped give extra motivation to you guys of, okay, well, I've been doing 8,000, but I'm in this team competition, I want to do this, and so normally I'd be in bed now, but I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to walk another 1,000 steps, or I'm going to keep going. And that's what racing for me has done, is it just helps provide that little extra motivation and that competition with yourself in doing that. And so you just kind of keep building off of it. Eventually I want to get to a marathon, but my immediate plans is in July of next year, I'm going to run what's called the Triple Caldera. And so on a Saturday in July, I'm going to run the Grand Teton Half Marathon. So I get to run in the beautiful mountains, and it'll be awesome. And then the Friday after that, I'm going to run the Yellowstone 5K, and then I'll wake up the next morning on Saturday, which will be a week after the initial half marathon, and run another half marathon in Yellowstone. So that's going to be my kind of midway build up when I can do 2 halves in a week period and do that. Then I will work towards the marathon after that. And so it's just continue to challenge yourself. Can I run one more minute? What can I do? Can I go further? What can, and that, and working with your family. We've also kind of challenged ourselves to try to do a race every month or every other month to kind of keep us going in the meantime while we build our way up to the Triple Caldera. And so we've either ran a 5K or a 10K. We're going to do the turkey trot, on Thanksgiving. We have another one in December booked and planned. And so it's been fun. We've done it with the family, and the kids, have gotten involved in these shorter races. In doing that, they're going to try to maybe do one of the half marathons with us next year. We'll see how they do. The 10K was a little tough. They get a little whiny, but it depends. So, and going from there, and it's just a lot of fun and keeps us going and motivated and enjoying that time with our family. And really, I'm not running because I love the feeling of running. I hate running. I still do. It hurts and different things and all of that. But I love the feeling of living and that competition with yourself, and really knowing that you're capable of things you never thought you were capable of. If you would ask me in January of this year, hey, you think you can run a 12-minute mile? I would have thought, no way. And now I've been able to run a mile in 10 minutes and doing those kinds of things, and run a half marathon and doing that. And, when I play with my kids, I can keep up with them and do those kinds of things. And to me, that's why I've started running, and the races just help keep me motivated to keep on track and pushing and doing that. And so there's this article from Susan Lackey, and this is just an excerpt from it, and you'll have to see. I'm just going to read it to you. I just thought it was really good and kind of summarize how I feel about racing, and it's not really about being first or doing that. And so she says, after my first 5K, I excitedly texted my friend Carlos with news of my accomplishment. He got me into the sport, so I thought he'd be excited to hear I crossed the finish line of a race. When my phone buzzed, I looked down to read his reply. 45 minutes? What did you do, skip? In case it isn't already clear, Carlos is one of the fast ones. I eventually got faster, but I never became fast. I'm an average runner. I'll never win a marathon, and I'll certainly never come close to completing one in 2 hours. but that doesn't mean I'm not racing. I am, just against myself. And trust me, when I cross that finish line, I feel superhuman. And that's the thing we forget when we ask slow runners why they don't actually race. They do. Their competition is the clock, that runner just ahead of them, the weather, that son of a gun hill, the fear, the haters, or the voice that says you can't. We can and we do. To think of all the athletes on the course should be running for the exact same reason is to ignore some of the most important motivations to run. So let's all relax and quit picking on the plotters. At the end of the day, we're all runners, regardless of mile splits or PRs. If you ask me, the coolest thing about our sport is not the 2-hour marathon, it's the fact that 3 hours later, there are still winners crossing the finish line. And that, especially with the half marathon and the marathons and that, and even the 10Ks, I mean, it's just, can you finish? Can you get there? Can you take that challenge on yourself and do that? And so even if you're 213 of 219 people, it's that challenge with yourself. And no way I thought I'd ever be able to run a half marathon, and now I'm planning on a marathon and doing that. So it just helps keep you motivated, but I still hate running and doing that. So yeah, that's kind of why I started running and doing that. Anybody have any questions for me about anything? Friend?
So, how did you get your, no shin splints? And had you got shin splints the first couple of times, what did you do?
Yeah, and so that's part of why I like racing too, is it helped me push through some of that. When I first started running, shin splints horrible. I mean, I would walk, and I started on the treadmill because it was still winter initially, and I was at 3 miles per hour, it was fine, but if I got 5 or faster, I'd get shin splints, my hip would hurt, and it just killed me. And so, but once you had a race and you knew it was coming, I got to push through this. And so that kind of helped with some of that, because some of it you just have to push through some of that pain to realize your end goal. But there are also lots of different things, like doing a lot of the stretching beforehand really helps versus just jumping on and doing that. Make sure you do a warm up so that you do kind of slowly walk or jog to begin with before you start running. Helps with the shin splints, as well as like I have calf sleeves that I wear or compression pants in doing that, and that really helped too. Drinking a lot of water and keeping hydrated really helped with a lot of that to an extent. And even if I'll go a week or two without running and then I go to run again, your body reminds you, hey, you haven't done this in a while. As well as taking breaks. When I first started, I was trying to run every day, and you got to give your body time to rest, and so started doing it every other day to give your time to rest and do that in between. Really helped. But initially, I mean, really the first 3 weeks that I started running sucked really bad, and they just do that, and you get used to different conditions too. Running on a treadmill a lot, especially because mine's springed and cushioned. To the first time I ran outside, I was just like, I could do this on the treadmill, and it was just killing my legs and my shins and all of that. And you kind of get used to it, and different shoes. There's lots of different things you kind of do. And the nice thing is there's a really big support community, and especially helped with my family. And my sister-in-law had done a lot, so we could ask her questions. But I mean, you Google it, and there's all kinds of people out there that'll give you suggestions and thoughts and ideas and different things to help too.
Did you eliminate any food, any drink, Mountain Dew? Did you eliminate something that...
It seems like a leading question because you know the answer.
She knows that you're a big Mountain Dew drinker, or were.
So, yeah, we started this, and then, like I mentioned, eating food and that, I noticed it had a big difference, the next day when I woke up to run, what I ate the night before, and different things. And so part of it is I started drinking a lot more water, which helped with the shin splints, and then really just decided I need to drink more water and started really tracking it. And I was tracking my food initially to begin with on everything. And so I gave soda up completely right in the middle of us trying to do our conversion.
Yeah.
And Mountain Dew was my stress relief. I'm like, this is the worst time ever to decide to do this. But then running kind of becomes your stress relief too. It's amazing, the endorphins and the different things. And days, when you run versus you don't run, how much it affects your attitude and lots of different things that have really helped. A lot of positive benefits that I found that other people talked about. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But then once you kind of really start doing it, you recognize and find that anyway, and that it really does work and boost your mood and that, which helped. And so yeah, I went 3 or 4 months without drinking any soda whatsoever. I have it on occasion now in doing that. But yeah, it helped a lot in doing different things. So
That's awesome.
You mentioned endorphins, so that's the quote-unquote runner's high. How long does it take you to experience that runner's high? It's different for everyone.
It is different for everyone and different things, and part of it is when you're in that competition with yourself, when I would achieve some of those things or I'd beat myself, is when, you know, it'd just be, I mean, there are times I'm running out on the treadmill and I'm like, woo! My wife's like, you okay? I'm like, yeah! I'm in 12 minutes! And doing that kind of stuff. And so a lot of it's, you know, just those kinds of things when, you know, you've been working towards that goal of, okay, I'm going to be able to run for 20 minutes without stopping or taking a break. And you're working towards that, and then you finally get there. You know, it's super rewarding, and you kind of get addicted to that challenge with yourself. Which is what I kind of call the runner's high in doing that. And with the marathon or half marathon, you kind of have your highs and lows in doing that. You start out and you're all excited and it's beautiful and the sun's coming up, and you know, then it starts to get hard, and then you get going again, and then you lose, you know, and it's a roller coaster back and forth. And a lot of it's that mental challenge to keep yourself going and pushing yourself in doing that.
How did you stay hydrated the whole time?
So I was a big water drinker, and I was really nervous about that. So if you noticed in the picture, in doing that, I had a runner's vest backpack on me, and so I had a hydration backpack in there. So I was carrying 1.5 liters of water on me and 2 Gatorades in doing that. Everybody else in my family's had these little hydration flasks, which is pretty much 8 ounces of water. And they have stations throughout, but I was afraid that wouldn't be enough. And when I wanted to drink, I wanted to drink. So that's all they used, and they would stop at the station. They'd take 2 or 3 cups of water, or I would just drink one really quick because I had it on my back the whole time. But I trained wearing that too, so I'd be prepared because I'm a big drinker. But a lot of times, especially if you chew gum, that helps keep your mouth from being dry, and so that works a lot better. And since then, I've actually trained a little bit more, trying to drink less water during, so I wouldn't necessarily have to carry that, but that's what I did. So, but they have stations and they have water, or it's kind of like Gatorade. They call it electrolytes, but it's the same kind of stuff, but it's just not super flavored like Gatorade. And so you could just drink those, and there's all kinds of running things. They have these little honey packs, protein packs that you can eat, and different things to kind of help give you a boost throughout the race. I'm a big enough guy though, I did that, and I'm like, oh, it pumps you up and you feel it, and I like ate it, and I'm like, that didn't do anything for me. But my wife, you know, she did it and she felt the sugar high, but apparently I needed to have 2 or 3 of them, so in doing that. So you just kind of train, and it's what you get used to as well, whether you want to carry water if you're a big drinker like I am, or, you know, chew a lot of gum and do different things to help in between.
Is that a picture of you on there? Your very first
That is not a picture of me, although it almost looks like it could be.
Yeah.
It's just one that I thought was funny when I found it, so, and I'd heard it before.
That's great.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bob.
We'll send that out to everybody, and thank you, Matt. That was awesome.
I'll turn off the scene.
Thanks, guys.